All right, gentlemen, the final week of the regular season. Say hello to my friend, Mr. Santa Claus, that my coworkers decided to put in here. There's not much to play for this week, actually. Sadly so. We'll get into where the one matchup that I think actually matters. But just a reminder for how everything works. So this is the end of the regular season. The top two teams in each division will go up. The bottom two of each division will go down. Uh, and then the top two from each division also get into playoffs, except for the lowest division. Only the top team gets in, and then the wild card is the most points for. However, due to OP having such a good scoring year, OP is pretty much locked in to getting that wild card spot. So, yeah, we're going to have two from each division getting in. I think it's the first time ever in the history of this league, so that's pretty cool. I think Dylan has a chance at the wild card. He's the only one that's really right there, but he'd have to outscore OP by about 82 points this week. So unless OP just benches his team, not likely, but not impossible. Uh, Derek is right there in the midst for it, but for Derek to not be in the playoffs automatically, Ryan would have to beat Derek or win this week, and Derek lose. They don't face each other. But also, Ryan would have to outscore Derek by a little over 100 some points. So the highest division, I believe, is fully set up. Someone can check my math, tell me if I'm wrong. But highest division is already set with their order. The middle high division is completely set with their order. The middle low is completely set with their order. And then the lowest is the only matchups of the week that matter, I believe, as far as actual standing or anything. So that's what we're going to look at for this week. That's all we're going to talk about. And then next week, we'll start playoffs. Uh, and at that point, I'll go over only the playoffs. But remember, even the people who don't make the official playoffs to win the championship, you're still playing for something every week because every order makes a difference in our draft pick for where you get to select where you draft from. So you still want to play every week, still want to win, and you do not want to be in the Sacco Bowl in the very bottom division game of the very last week of playoffs. So just a reminder too, for those playoffs, we'll talk about this next week. It works like a ladder. For that lower division, where if you win a matchup, you move up a spot. If you lose a matchup, the next week you'll be down a spot for the 3 weeks. But like I said, someone check my math. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I think the only matchups of consequence is in the lowest division because OP and Austin are tied with 6 wins. And so this is for getting promoted to move up to the middle low next season. Mac is already safe at the top of that one. But if Austin wins and OP loses, Austin would move up and be promoted to middle low next season. OP would still make playoffs, but he'll stay in the lowest division next year. They do not face each other, so that would have been even better if they played each other, but they don't. As far as points difference between them, if they both win, OP will move up. He's outscored Austin by close to 200 points this season. So the only scenario where this happens is Austin wins and OP loses. So let's take a look at these matchups. OP has the tougher matchup. He's got to play Mac, top team in the division. Austin gets to play Matt, who, again, good team, had some pretty bad luck as far as points against, kind of like what Dylan's been talking about. He's got to work on his defense, pick that up a little bit. But OP versus Mac. Mac is projected to win by 10. This is also the last week of bye weeks, so there is a few teams on bye this week, none after this week. Doesn't affect this matchup a whole lot, doesn't look like, except for the tight ends for Mac. He went ahead and picked up Zach Ertz to back up Trey McBride to make sure he has the Arizona tight end come time. But OP does lose Brian Robinson to bye, who was hurt anyway and might not have played this week, even if they were to have it. He does have a running back on his roster he can replace it with, granted, nowhere near the caliber as a starting running back in Brian Robinson. This is a tough one for OP. OP may have to hope that Austin loses for his chance to stay alive and getting to move up a division next year. But only 10 points right now. Max people do have tough matchups. Playing the Jets, playing Patriots, playing the Saints. Like, none of these are super easy matchups. The Browns, whereas OP's people do get the Bucks, the Chargers, the Rams, the Panthers. So it's going to be interesting. Also, the Mac has Tyreek. OP has Jalen Waddle, so two receivers on the same team. Tyreek went off last week, no surprise against Washington. Maybe it's Jalen's week this week. I do think this will be tighter than what it could be, but I'm gonna pick the wild card here. I'm gonna go bold and say the matchups for Max teams are too much, and OP keeps stunning everybody like he has all season, and he gets to 500, goes 7-7, and he stays promoted. But in the off chance I'm wrong, let's look at Matt versus Austin. Austin is projected only for 68. Matt is projected for 87. Yeah, Austin loses two receivers to buy, and Matt loses just a running back to buy. So fairly even there. But again, Austin Eckler has not been up to snuff this year. Mahomes hasn't been, maybe not to Mahomes' fault. His receivers can't catch, but he has not been near as good either. Jake Browning for Matt last week. Wow. Who saw that coming? What a performance. Also, the Colts don't play defense, so it could be another great week in store for him. Christian McCaffrey, obviously great. Romeo Dubs should be better for Matt this week with Christian Watson likely out with that hamstring injury. I don't think that Austin's going to be able to get it done with the two people that he has on bye. Does have some decent replacements where it's not a terrible switch in, and he'll be able to take Patrick Taylor out and put James Cook back in to get the projection a little bit closer. But I think Matt gives one final dagger to Austin and keeps him with him in the bottom league for next year. And OP advances and makes the playoffs all at the same time. That's all we're going to talk about this week, gentlemen. That's the only matchups that really have any effect on anything. And then next week we will look at playoffs and look at the people who actually made the playoffs and their matchups to talk about those last 3 weeks. Have a good one.